With more than 2 million inhabitants, the Kurds are the largest ethnic minority in Syria. They live in 3 settlements in the north of the country. The most important city is Kobani. While the Assad government has been busy fighting the Islamic State and the Syrian opposition from Damascus, the Kurds use the vacuum in Syria to build their own system of government in their settlement areas. Under the leadership of the YPG National Defence Units, they declared their areas cantons and gathered in public assemblies to make the most important decisions jointly with the local population. They appointed their own government and put together a mini army, which consists of both women and men to defend themselves. It looked good for the Kurds in Syria. They had never known so many freedoms. Then everything happened very quickly. In a sudden attack, ISIS overran the Kurds' fortifications and besieged more than 200 Kurdish villages within a few weeks, and rolled up to the gates of Kobani with tanks captured from Iraq and Syria. The lightly armed Kurdish forces had no way of fending them off. The Islamic State tanks closed in, street by street. Fighting with Kalashnikovs against tanks, the Kurds quickly lost more than 60% of the city to ISIS, who had surrounded Kobani with about 50 tanks and 7,000 jihadis. 5,000 Kurdish fighters put up fierce resistance, but were outnumbered and outgunned by the Islamists. More than 700 Kurds lost their lives in the combat. Despite several attempts, however, ISIS was unable to completely take Kobani. The longer the fight for the city took, the more people all around the world stood in solidarity with the Kurds. Many young people from Turkey crossed the Turkish-Syrian border and joined the Kurds.
Yani Kobani'ni desteklemek için milyonlar sokaklara indi. İşte bu herhalde bu ayın başındaydı. Tekrar milyonlar yani hani bu yıl dönümü dolayısıyla tekrar milyonlar sokağa çıktı. Herkes tabii Kobani bir vesile oluyor ama Kürtleri desteklemek için. Hani Kürtler bütün dünyaya gösterdi. İşte bu insanlık değerlerini ben savunabilirim, ben yapabilirim. Ben de insanlığın bir parçasıyım. Onun için tüm demokrasi güçleri, özgürlük diyelim yani özgürlük savunucuları, destekleyenler hepsi Kürtlerin yanındadır.
The war raged on and on, all around Kobani. Staying in the city was no longer possible for civilians. Finally, Turkey opened the border. Up to 300,000 residents of Kurdish areas in Syria crossed the Syrian-Turkish border to safety. This refugee camp was once a sport facility belonging to the Diyarbakir municipality. On the Turkish side of the border, Kurds living in Turkey opened their arms to their brothers and sisters from Syria and Iraq. There are no exact figures, but an estimated 500,000 Kurds live in their tent cities there. Most of them are housed by the city administrations of the HDP and funded with donations from Europe. When Kobani, contrary to all expectations, did not fall, the US-led coalition against ISIS decided to help the Kurds. Coalition aircraft began bombing ISIS positions and conducted these missions in coordination with the Kurdish fighters. In addition, US military planes dropped armour-piercing weapons over Kobani, so that the Kurds could finally fight the tanks of ISIS. The encircled city of Kobani could only be reached via Turkey, but they closed the border. When the border opened for 250 Peshmerga fighters from Iraq, who had rushed to help the Syrian Kurds with artillery, the tide turned. The Kurds went on the offensive and recaptured their city, street by street. The ISIS fighters withdrew from Kobani, suffering great losses. It was the first time ISIS met military defeat. For the Kurds, on the other hand, Kobani became a symbol for certain victory. Not just here, but everywhere in the world, Kurds took to the streets to celebrate the city's liberation. But many danced not only for the liberation of this one city, it became the symbol for cross-border Kurdish identity.
Auf gesamtkurdischer Ebene ist Kobane der Punkt, an dem sich zum ersten Mal so etwas wie eine grenz- und staatenübergreifende kurdische Solidarität entwickelt hat. Wir wissen, dass in den Jahrzehnten vorher es dem Iran möglich war, die irakischen Kurden gegen die iranischen Kurden auszuspülen. Wir wissen, dass Erdogan es mit einem gewissen Grad von Erfolg versucht hat in den letzten Jahren, Barzani, die irakischen Kurden gegen Öcalan und die PKK, das heißt gegen die türkischen Kurden auszuspielen. Aber Kobane war der Punkt, wo zum ersten Mal die Kurden in allen 4 Staaten des Nahen Ostens eigentlich gemeinsam um das Überleben einer kurdischen Stadt gezittert haben, wo Freiwillige aus dem Iran, aus der Türkei und die Peschmerga aus dem Irak gemeinsam gekämpft haben. Von daher ist, glaube ich, Kobane der Punkt, ab dem es nicht mehr möglich ist, den Nationalstaaten im Nahen Osten die verschiedenen Teile der Kurden in den jeweiligen Ländern gegeneinander auszuspielen.